Hi, everyone. It's Carol here, the founder of the Sleep Success Academy. And today I wanted to talk about how you create your sleep story. And what do I mean by your sleep story? For me, our sleep story is the story that we're creating or that we're actually verbalizing with others about the state of our sleep. And so some of us might say it's difficult for me to sleep. I haven't had a good night's sleep in years. I can't shut my brain off when I go to bed, or I hear often like I'm on the couch, I'm all nice and cozy and sleepy. And then the minute I walk in the bedroom, I'm wide awake. And so we have all these stories that we create about our sleep. But what I want to talk about is how these stories get created. And I want to use a statement that Deb Dana, who wrote so many books, I've got one of her books right here on the polyvagal theory and on the nervous system and how it works. If you haven't researched anything by Deb Dana, I highly recommend it. I love how she brings this theory into our lives easily. Like she makes a difficult concept easy to understand. And one of the things that she says is that story follows state. And what she means by that is the story that we're creating, that we're saying, that we're feeling actually is created by the state of our nervous system. So before we can try to restory or change that around, we've got to look at the state of our nervous system. And that's what I want to share with you today. I'm going to give you some examples. So I did some courses with her where she used an example of somebody having the same event, but three different stories depending on the state of the nervous system. And I want to do that exercise a little bit with you today to show you how you can actually change the story of your sleep to in order to get better sleep. So if you don't already have my free guide, so I have this free guide on my website, 5 action steps to improve the quality of your sleep. Just go to my website, sleepsuccessacademy.com. Halfway down the homepage, you'll see where you can put your name and your email address, and you will get a copy of my free guide in your email box. At the same time, that will subscribe you to my email list. So that way you'll know when a new video is being released. Every Friday, I try to release a video and you'll get an email from me. So I don't email a whole lot unless it's a video on the weekend or have a new program coming on or my program's starting again. So you'll get the odd additional email during the week, but not often. And you can always unsubscribe at any time. Also, make sure you like this video, that you subscribe to my channel, that you share this with anyone who might need it, because that will help us then create better sleep in the whole world. All right, so what do I mean by story follows state, as Deb Dana says? So, first, what is state? What does she mean by state in this statement? State, she means the state of our nervous system. So, our autonomic nervous system, we either have fight, flight, or freeze, right? So or social engagement, or she calls it ventral energy. And so when we are dysregulated, most of the time we're in fight, flight, or freeze. And we know that, we hear that all over the place. So you kind of know what those states are. But I'm just going to talk to you about sleep in those states and the story we create. Because when someone hasn't slept for a long time, they can either go into fight, flight, or freeze. Not often are they in this regulated social engagement state. It's very rare because we're so sleep deprived that we have a hard time managing life, because without sleep, we know life is miserable. And so they end up in this fight, flight, or freeze state. And their story will sound something like, oh, I haven't slept in years, or it's just not possible for me to sleep. And when I'm working with clients, or when I work with people in the better sleep community, I'm really noticing the language that they're using, because the language they're using in their story will tell me the state of their nervous system. And I know for myself and for others, if I'm constantly stuck in fight, flight, or freeze, I'm not going to get good sleep. It's not possible. I need to be in more of this ventral energy, this social engagement energy, this regulated energy in order for my body to be able to sleep. So, what does a story sound like depending on the state? So, in this course that I took with Deb Dana, she had this one participant share a story that he had. And so, the same story. So, we're going to talk about him going for a walk with his dog. And then we'll do the same thing with our sleep, right? So, he got a new puppy, he took the dog for a walk. And so, in fight or flight energy and that sympathetic energy, the story sounded like my dog kept barking. I couldn't keep him under control. It was so frustrating. Every time another dog walked by, I had to hold him with two hands because even though he was a puppy, he was a big dog. I just had no control. So that was his sympathetic story, his fight or flight story. And then she said to him, if you go down into the freeze, into the dorsal energy, into that freeze, what does your story sound like then? Then it was hopeless. Um, there's no way I'm ever going to get this dog under control. Maybe I shouldn't have gotten the dog. Very hopeless energy, very like down, depressed energy, feeling like he was a bad dog owner, all this stuff. So you see how the story changed from being frustrated with the dog to being hopeless to being depressed. And then she says, I want you to then move up. So she has this polyvagal ladder. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. But she went up and she said, bring now this good social engagement energy, this good regulation. What would the story be? Well, the story completely changed that this is a new puppy. He's just learning to walk on a leash. I'm so proud of him that one time he was actually able to sit down when I asked him to. So the story changed. You see how it was like a more positive energy. So, how does that relate to sleep? Well, if my sleep story. So I'm going to use mine, for example, because you guys all know I struggled deeply with sleep to the point of losing sensation in my hands and feet. So I know what it's like not to sleep. My story that I repeated over and over and over at that time because I was stuck in fight or flight was that I had no off switch for my brain. No matter what I did, I couldn't sleep. Not even sleeping pills worked for me. So that was like the constant story. Then once in a while, when I would get really, really bad, I would get into the like crying, like, I don't know how to get my life back in order. Like, I'm so broken. I'll never sleep again. Like, what if I have to go through life like this? It's unmanageable. See how my story changed? Now, my story today is like, wow, like I overcame that. I know now how to regulate my nervous system. I totally understand that my nervous system was so dysregulated at that time because of this that was going on in my life. I have tools today to help my nervous system regulate. I know that if I have one bad night's sleep, the next night will be better. It's okay not to sleep perfectly every night. See how my story changed? Right. And so I'm now curious with you because I've given you two examples, one with walking a dog, one with sleep. What is your current sleep story? Right? What is that? What are you telling yourself or others about your sleep? And from that, are you able then to picture which state of your nervous system it's in? And that's what we do in the Better Sleep community. We really learn about the three states of our own nervous system. We help each other understand. So, because we're a group and we're talking about this all the time, when somebody says, oh, I was frustrated about my sleep, we all know, oh, okay, she was in sympathetic energy. So now how is she going to help herself move out of that energy to be more regulated? We might use tapping as one of our tools. We might use a resource, which for me, my comfy heated blanket is a resource. Everybody has different resources that they have gathered for themselves. They might use orienting, whatever it takes for them to allow their nervous system to switch state, and then sleep will come. So that's a big part of the program. It's really understanding that our sleep is usually affected by the state of our nervous system. How do we bring that regulation back? What kind of exercise will work for us? Because not everything will work for everybody, but really helping each other understand what we can do and then get ourselves back to sleep and then create that new story about our sleep. It's possible to create that new story. I just told you my new story. My old story was like, I was doomed for life. I could never ever get sleep again because my brain just had no more off switch. Today it's like, oh my God, I slept so good last night. Yeah, I had about half hour where I was awake and a little bit of anxiety showing up. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to let this energy do what it needs to do, this anxiety feeling. And I did a little bit of tapping and then boom, right back to sleep because I knew what to do with this anxiety that was showing up. as opposed to trying to repress it. I processed it, then was able to get back to sleep. And so I've been doing this for years, so it's easier for me to re-story quickly now. But at the beginning, it was harder. But here's an example of the more you practice something, the more you get progress in it. So practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes progress. And then you can actually restory your story about your sleep. So the Better Sleep community is ongoing. If you're interested in finding anything else, finding out about the Better Sleep community, you can always email me at support@sleepsuccessacademy.com, or even just go to our website, sleepsuccessacademy.com. And on the sleep support page, you'll see I talk about the Better Sleep community on there, and you can join us at any time. And I promise you, everybody that's in the Better Sleep community is getting better sleep, is getting a better regulated nervous system. They're creating new stories for themselves, and the group community aspect is just amazing. That's it for today. And if you have any question, again, don't hesitate to reach out. Bye.